The only team here that's won a national championship before, Marshall, back in 2020, put the Thundering Herd on the map. They're the number 13 overall seed against this Ohio State team. It's got the number 1 next to their name. They've had it for a long time through the polls. They have it in this tournament, and they want to move forward to their first ever College Cup final and prove that they are the best team in the land. We just saw a heck of a game before at our first one. Denver and Vermont. Vermont advances on penalties to get to their first ever College Cup final in program history. Ohio State, Marshall up next. The winner will take on the Catamounts Monday, 8 Eastern, ESPN2. What's up, everybody? Great to be with you. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff, and Marion Crowder will be joining us in just a few minutes down on the field. Devin, you look at these two teams. Marshall was the number 1 team in the nation last year in this tournament. They couldn't get back to this spot. It's really hard when you got that number 1 next to you to go all the way and win this whole thing.
I would say about this Marshall team, though, is that let down for sure, but still the belief that they can go and do it, right? And from a tactical standpoint, this is the most gifted soccer team I've ever seen in collegiate play. When you look at Ohio State, though, they just got something. They've got that it factor. They've got lightning on the outside. They've got the ability to do a little bit of everything. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they've been very efficient all year long.
And that guy you just saw in the middle of your screen there, Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, is a special player, to say the least. Coming and transferring in from Memphis, one of the best goal scorers and creators, though, in the nation.
Well, I just talked about how good they are with the ball, right? They like to unbalance you. Sometimes it's death by 1,000 passes, but then they can hit that 20-yard ball and get you running. And that's what he does. His ability to understand where these pressure points come from. So they move you side to side. Watch as the pivot comes down underneath. He's 45 yards from goal picking up this passage. Any striker, usually one-on-one situation, they're going to try and take it instead. Unselfish because of the overloads and the backside space that opens up for them. It's the bread and butter for the Thundering Herd. Ohio State Buckeyes, they're a little bit different, right? To me, their success is predicated 2 ends, but they like pressure. They like to be up high. They make you feel uncomfortable with strength in numbers defensively. On that pressures, quick turnovers, and then those numbers then profiting from them on the attacking side of things. It looks a little bit flat, but I talked about how they don't make a lot of mistakes. They win their individual assignments on both sides of the ball. They've been the leader in the clubhouse for quite some time. That's why they are the number 1 seed in College Cup.
And they are. They have this great opportunity ahead of them, but unfortunately for them, their singular focus was not winning a national championship throughout this week. Just in the wee hours of Sunday morning, after they beat Wake Forest in the quarterfinal, their starting center back, Nathan Demian, was an innocent bystander in a shooting, and he had to have surgery right after that. The coaches were able to be notified. The players were notified. There was concern if he would make it. He has made it. He has grown in strength through the course of the week. The team was able to see him on Monday and Tuesday and then Wednesday before they traveled down here. And Nathan remains in great spirits. And with more on this, let's go down to Marion Crowder.
Dallin, being able to see him was massive for this team and the coaching staff, because they told us it has been a challenge to balance preparing for the task at hand, which is winning a national championship. But Nate has never wavered on what his team has been preparing for. After surgery, he was intubated and had the ability to write Final Four on a sheet of paper. But guys, today he was able to record a motivational message for the team. So not only were they able to see him, but they have been able to hear him right before they've stepped onto the pitch.
This is where it all comes together. This is where we all get to show the whole entire world what we're made of, what we're built for. I'm so excited to watch you guys go and do it. We've done too much this year not to finish the job. We've earned the right to go and play this game. And we go and play free. We go and play with passion. We go and play for one another. And our talent will take care of itself. We work so hard for this. 2 games left. Starts today against Marshall. And we take care of whoever we want on Monday. And I'll be there for that. Take care of today. And we lift a national championship on Monday. Go Bucks.
It's great to see Nate be able to deliver that message. It's been an emotional, brutal week for his family, for Nate, for this Ohio State community, and of course his brothers on the pitch. His jersey is there. They had the shirts Do It for Dalla. They are representing right now for not just Ohio State, but for their fallen comrade back in Columbus. Can they get it done? We will find out shortly. Marshall, Ohio State, that number 1 next to their name. Will they be playing for a championship Monday? Kickoff next.
Slay the season with Hisense 100-inch TVs, up to 40% off. Get a slam dunk deal this holiday season. You're gonna need a bigger Christmas tree. Win the holidays with Hisense.
Happy holidays, Grandma. We got you something.
Ooh, I know this one. Fancy a game?
And the contest begins. Goal it is! Hit it with authority! And a goal! Brilliant! Can you believe it? Absolute perfection! No wonder he's celebrating!
This is a nightmare.
Someone call for a nightmare?
Hang on. That's your nightmare? Some roof damage? I'm a professional. I deal with real nightmares. You just need to sing the State Farm jingle.
State Farm jingle?
Do it!
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm can help with your claim. We're here when you need us.
Great. Can you get rid of it?
Ooh, who we getting rid of? Wait.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I feel the madness taking hold.
I feel the madness taking hold.
Welcome to Fandom University. It's all part of the curriculum. March Madness. Attendance is encouraged. Passion is mandatory. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/MVB tickets. Class dismissed.
Y'all see this? Patrick Mahomes is saying goodbye. People was tripping.
Where are you going?
He was actually saying goodbye to his old phone.
I'm switching to the amazing new iPhone 16 Pro at T-Mobile.
It's the first iPhone built for Apple Intelligence. That's like peanut butter on jelly on gold. Get 4 iPhone 16 Pro on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. And save on every plan versus the other big guys. What a deal. That's a lot if you ask me. If y'all giving it away too fast, T-Mobile, slow down.
The Marshall Thundering Herd, last time they were at the College Cup, they were an unseeded team. They were the outsider. Well, they were the 2020 national champs. Their program is on the map now. They were the number 1 seed last year, couldn't get it done. 13 seed, though. They are back here in the College Cup. Take us through 11. Lineup, Dev.
Take a picture of this in your mind and then forget about it immediately because where they're at now, it don't matter. It's that simple. I mentioned tactically how it's the best collegiate team I've ever seen. They have a lot of freedom of expression on the ball. They want to create overloads. They move you a lot side to side. And then, boom, at a moment's notice, this team, the way they drift, they pull you, they make you reimagine the game in the best of ways. Chris Grassi and co. Incredible.
On the other side, Brian Masonoff and his Ohio State Buckeyes. They've had that number 1 for almost 2 months now. This is a team that's trying to prove that not only they belong, but they're the best team in the nation. And Michael Adedokin is one of the best, too.
Yeah, they've taken sort of that Indiana identity that Brian Masonoff had as an All-American and Matt Herman player and brought it here where nothing wrong with simplicity. I just talked about the craziness of Marshall. This is about individual moments, and none better than what we've seen out of Adedokin, one of the best players in the country on the outside. A lot of speed. He's really comfortable in those half channels, and it's all about trying to find a way with the outside midfielders, get narrow, link-up play with the 2 up top.
Great support for the Thundering Herd, as always. And as we told you the story before, Nathan Demian, the starting center back, is back in Columbus after being a victim of that stray shooting. 23, Donnie Williams is replacing him in that back line. You see the 3s on their chest. We'll get into how Williams can help that team and what will be different without Demian in the lineup from a very simplistic situation, as we are now in the second College Cup semifinal. Vermont, the Catamounts, the unseeded Catamounts, waiting in the wings. Daniel Radford, our center official, and we are underway from Cary for semifinal number 2. Takahiro Fujita turns it over early. David Ajagbe, the freshman. Oh, that might have been a handball there from Alex Ramford. A little nervy start for the Thundering Herd. As this ball goes out, you were a center back. You played with center back pairings and become consistent. When you look at Magnuson and Demian, they were a consistent pairing. When that has changed, how does Williams slot in? What will be different?
The good news is that both Demian and Williams, they're very similar in nature in the sense that there's a lot of energy, last-minute ditch, and recovery in space. The difference is the word you use, consistency. Don Williams has a tendency to wander a little bit, He's also a makeshift outside back that they utilize on both sides. When you move in there, this is about communication right now, being stoic and doing the simple things. Do the simple things. Play it, win it, let it go. Let everybody else in front of you go and attack the game in that fashion.
And the one thing that it's hard for Williams to replace is the voice that Demian is for this team. He is the heart and soul. He is the biggest personality, as Brian Masenoff would say. So having him not here hurts that team on the field, but also emotionally. But they're carrying him with them. As you said, that number 3 on their chest representing for their center back.
And just so we can cap this, so it's not uncharted territory that they're walking through. Donovan Williams played center back earlier this season when Demian had an injury. They also utilized Nick McHenry, so they have the depth within this. These guys have seen this unit before. It's not like they've had to turn a page, and they've never been in this situation.
Brian Masenoff, he's been in this situation before as an outstanding player at Indiana. Wasn't able to win a national championship. Did win the Mac Herman Trophy, as you mentioned, as Max Trejo hits the deck. But right to the legs of Luciano Picota. Masenoff was the National Player of the Year at the Mac Herman Award back in '94. His 7th year of Ohio State, really building this program to this point. Is Trejo on it again now under some pressure? Both teams a little nervy situation to start this match?
Certainly the intensity that Ohio State bring to the field of play that we saw in the opening moments, that's their identity.
Yeah.
Chase you, make you feel uncomfortable, make you make a mistake. And, you know, most of the season for Marshall, the mistakes are on their own accord. They don't get broken down that much. So a little bit frantic for them for sure, but it's nervy in any game, to be fair. And certainly, who could blame them with this magnificent crowd? The lights are on. Certainly they knew you were in the building, so everybody's happy.
I mean, well, Freddie Kiger's here too, our great statistician. So when we and Freddie are here, everybody's excited. But no, in all seriousness, the building is packed. They just watched the Vermont team win in penalties. It's a great atmosphere here for the College Cup. Played back to Alexa Yannick, the keeper for Marshall. And now looking long, might have an opportunity here. This is not normal Marshall ball, but Tarek Panholzer almost able to get on it. And now Williams is up limping heavily, and he's down in the middle of the field. This is not good. He's struggling. And immediately you have another player up to warm up. We'll get a note on who that is if Williams cannot continue. But Max Trejo is helping him just get back to his feet.
It's incredible all the time. Knee to knee on Panholzer there. And I mentioned that they can lure you to sleep. Death by 1,000 passes at times for the Thundering Herd, but they can strike quickly. They've got the speed up top, certainly the quality. He goes back down, and you mentioned the player down immediately. Part of those depth pieces that we talked about, Nick McHenry up right down into the corner, starting to go through the motions, but he has slowed down as Donovan Williams starts to gain a little bit of confidence back in his step.
And there's McHenry to the right there. We wait to see if he should still continue his warm-up. He's kind of slowed his roll for a minute as Williams is moving better now, about to be on the ball. It's long for Marko Borkovic, does not connect. Yannick, the Wingate transfer, was a D2 all-regional player when he was at that level. Now getting his 15th start. And here's Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, first time he's on the ball. Mac Herman, semifinalist as well, one of the best players in the nation and an informed player. Ball crossed in, flicked on, out for a corner. Siggy Magnuson, first team All Big Ten, clearing that out of the way, the Icelandic center back. And there's Chris Grassi in his 8th year, looking for his 100th win, leading the Thundering Herd, winning the national championship back in 2020 on this very pitch, knocking off Indiana en route to their first ever national championship. Which, talking to all these players, a lot of these guys are foreign-born players that don't have much familiarity with college soccer, but soon as now Williams is down again, and now McHenry's got his jersey off, and I think we're going to see a sub here. And Daniel Radford's going to stop it and say, we've got an issue. McHenry, the freshman from Loveland, Ohio, his warm-up's off, and he's getting instructions as Williams down in a heap. This is not what you wanted to see. He was on the All Big Ten freshman team. He's acquitted himself very well, this young man. About to make his 22nd appearance. He did start 7 times this year.
And if you're looking at it, you're thinking the unfortunate circumstance that forced Donovan Williams in for Nate Demian, right? So there's the one change at center back. But if they have to bring him off here, this is really 4 separate positions that it affects, and here's why. Donovan Williams off, there's the center back spot. He's also one of your backup depth pieces at both outside back positions that they utilize there. And the reason that they didn't start Nick McHenry back there on the back line was because he's the depth piece within the midfield and at center back. The idea was Donovan Williams, give the outside backs a break, push him out there, then bring McHenry on to help. All of a sudden, real quick, it's gotten thin.
Yeah. All right, well, the freshman is inserted now with a corner kick opportunity for the Thundering Herd. And Williams struggling now into college soccer. He could re-enter in the second half if he can go. We'll find out. But right now he is out of the match for the first half. Floated back post. Headed back, down, and into the hands of Trejo. They had an interesting goalkeeper situation with Patrick McLaughlin all year. Trejo and McLaughlin alternating back and forth. Now Trejo's got the gloves basically for the last month and change through the Big Ten and NCAA tournaments. And Williams getting a lot of treatment right now and some love from the bench. Eddie Doken, first time he's on the ball. The midfielder of the year in the Big Ten, and appeals for a corner, and they will get one. First corner of the match to be taken by Borkovic. The all Big Ten second teamer this year. Native of England. In-swinging ball to the back post. Headed in off the bar! The Jagby, the freshman, almost made his mark immediately in this College Cup semifinal.
What's interesting is the way that he attacks this, or lack thereof. He's actually a little bit slow on it. He catches it coming up back through. That's a mismatch, though. Great job physically winning the battle in there against Alexander Sterngard. There was just a tiny little push-off, but enough separation to allow him to go up and get it. But that slow delay down, he's coming up underneath it. That's why he's rising and the ball's pushing up as opposed to being able to attack it head on. Still a good move for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, the freshman from Vancouver, from Surrey, British Columbia. Now we're going to chance the other way. Rounds the keeper. They're going to walk it in. 1-0 to Marshall. We talk about beautiful soccer. That was round one. Panholzer.
Just switched off after the moment on one end and weren't organized quick enough. Great recognition by the Thundering Herd to play this quickly. Again, so that they can make you feel uncomfortable. They can shift you rapidly, but also that's just a heads-up play by Yannick. They like in possession to bring him high, but he sees the space. Way too big of a gap between the back line there and the Buckeyes. The collision between Max Trejo and his trailing defender, and the utter class by the German.
And how about the ball by Yannick? That was the second time we've seen him off they almost had a chance earlier in the match already off a direct play like that. You think that's something they saw in scouting?
Well, I was just going to say, here's the thing that you get with that emotion, with that pressure, with that high line of confrontation that is normally in the run of play for Ohio State. When they come and challenge you, you come high, you're also conceding space. Now, to be clear, in that specific instance, that's just understanding from Marshall that the space was there because they didn't get reorganized after that set piece opportunity that came off the crossbar. Yeah. Got to get back, got to set yourself. They just kind of lulled themselves back into the moment. Marshall nailed them.
Wow. That's huge from Panholzer right now to put them up 1-0. Over the Buckeyes, and we'll see how they respond. That's Yannick's second career assist. And that was great distribution from the back. Dalen Velios Flicks it ahead to Borkovic.
Good touch.
Nice touch by Borkovic. Cuts it back. Now we'll play in the middle of Jagby. Look at that big body. Oh, just wide. He is a handful. The Vancouver Whitecaps Academy product.
That's a great job. Jagby utilizing a frame of his, but the dirty work was done right here. To be clear, Bamford does a good job about getting back across, but just staying with it, keeping yourself composed if you're Marko Borkovic. Clean little ball back across, and all of a sudden, look at his hands. Great job by the striker, feeling where that pressure's coming from.
And Thiago Apolinario, the sophomore from Sao Paulo, giving up a lot of size and strength. He's 5'9" and not the biggest center back in the world in terms of thickness. The Jagby is physical presence, 6'1" with some body. Comes down to Rodriguez dos Santos. Out wide to Neda. And to Temu Okiyoshi. We haven't mentioned him yet. 8 in Marshall's white and green stripes. Love when they have white numbers on white jerseys. Always good for us.
Christmas has come early.
Yeah, exactly. Teneda, the freshman, had a good campaign once he's got healthy. Been impactful. 2 assists in that win over Furman, which was their 4-0 win to start their NCAA tournament campaign. Tomas Gile. Wide to Samways. Aridokin trying to battle. Taka Fujita over to Marco Silva. Okiyoshi pressured. And eventually didn't get turned over. Alex Sterngard's able to ping it out to Teneda. Trying to get the Penholzer, lost his footing. Koda tried to drive it forward to Borkovic. Dalen Velios upends Silva. I got to say, it's strange. Dalen was great talking to him yesterday, but people have called me Dalen my entire life, mispronouncing my name. Now I'm going to say his name properly.
Other names
spelled
too.
differently. Yeah, well, that's true.
Behind your back.
That's definitely, and to my face. Penholzer hit the deck, so he got hit in the face. Senior. Penholzer, the goal scorer, made the difference in the 7th minute. A great academy career. Grew up in St. Pauli Academy in Germany, which just got promoted. It's been in the Bundesliga back and forth. He was U15 German national team player, transferred from East Tennessee State, where he was an all-league player. Now he's had a huge impact in a College Cup semifinal. Nice touch by Dos Santos. Oh, here we go by Marshall. Silva's pass. Can't connect, but you see what they can do. They combine in their ability to, on the ball. Your face was funny. Do you want to tell people what you look? You have to use your words, son.
That's not always an easy occurrence to take place for me. Here's the best way to probably express it. Like, they're all versatile, right? They're all skilled within this Marshall program. Sometimes going through watching tape with the amount that you and I get an opportunity to experience, it's laboring. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. It's a lot of work.
Got a lot to cover,
right? Bucket of popcorn and extra butter. Let's go. Watching them. Again, they just, the way that Chris Grassi mimics his game, it's a lot of Roberto De Zerbi right now at Marseille. And he tries to push and pull in different areas, but there's also going to be those glimpses where, okay, we're going to take the most simplistic route. Certainly none better than what was really 2 occurrences in about a 3-minute stretch for Marshall here and culminated in Penholzer's goal. But real quickly, they changed. So what you're looking for right now, Ohio State.
Foot race, hold on. And just barely, I could say, won by Teo Godar, as he was in it to win it at Parker Grinstead. Continue.
You're just trying to get comfortable within the direction that was given to you heading into this match. Yes, there's the absence of Demian. Then all of a sudden it's Donovan Williams. Recognize these guys are also off rhythm because of the game prior. So quickly out of the gate, the goal's given up, settled down, because although there is a ton of movement, it is also predictable. And that's the communication right now. If you're on the back line for Ohio State, just settle down right now, eyes forward.
Aridokin got kind of clipped by Fujita. Awkward tackle. Fujita, the sophomore from Japan. Very talented defender, as is Adidoka, one of the best midfielders. Borkovic to float it in. Oh, swing and a miss. Jagby trying to step through the hole there. Velios. Adidoka, good ball, but good. Bowl season begins tomorrow, folks, with 2 games. Jacksonville State and South Carolina State in the Cricket Celebration Bowl at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, noon Eastern, ABC. And then it's the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. South Alabama squares off with Western Michigan at 9 Eastern on ESPN at the historic Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. At Jagby trying to create another chance. Pakoda! Oh, Bojanic spills it, but he's okay. These turnovers in their own third are dangerous for the Thundering Herd right now.
It's also something that got them into a lot of trouble early on in the year. They struggled a little bit, the way that they were playing out of the back. They adjusted some things. They played a little bit more on the outside to try and create those overloads. And centrally right now, just not clean enough on the ball and taking a lot of chances, which is part of this system. But that's where it can get you into trouble. They want to build 2. They want to build 3. Different shapes, certainly different size of players. But this is also playing a little bit quicker and sometimes going back to what we saw the goal in Dallin. Reset your line, come out, and then try and play if you can.
Fujita got fouled there. Borkovic left a little bit on him. And you saw in Ohio State when they played Wake Forest, and Bobby Noose's team is great at possessing the ball.
Yeah.
They want to possess it and dominate it, but they were under a lot of pressure trying to play out of the back. And this is your point. This is Ohio State's MO. And Ohio State won that game 3-0. Not necessarily because of turnovers directly, but it wears on you, I imagine, physically and mentally to keep playing like that.
A second time, by the way, that the referee stopped the clock in the opening 15 minutes.
Talk to me more about the delay in the first game. When it goes to overtime and goes to penalties, how does that affect rhythm, or can it affect rhythm for a player? Trejo clears.
It's 2-part, and specifically here at WakeMed. Here's why. Number one, you're not warming up on the field. You're warming up behind the stadium. So you start your warm-up process. You're trying to taper it to the timing of the game, to where you're coming on, you're getting another 15 or 20-minute window, and then you're done. When that expires, you're also looking at, okay, well, when do we restart our clock again?
1 second. Gile. Why? Continue.
There's uncertainty within that. So as we saw, there's a lot of standing around. Both teams in the tunnel watching what's going on. You're also human.
Yeah.
You're interested in what the result's going to be. And then on the back end of it, when you reestablish that routine, you're also looking at what the taper was in terms of food, right? And the nutrition that, although that conversation isn't coming in right now.
Oh, yellow card for, it's going to go to Yannick, I think. Time wasting already.
30 minutes, or excuse me, 15 in, you're not worried about it. This is something that when it starts to prolong itself into the second half where, you know, nutrition starts to become more of a conversation.
Yeah. And now again, from a kind of a dead ball here, a chance for Marshall. Stern guard, back to Fujita. Bamford. Polinario. Now, Marshall did go, it wasn't quite similar, but last week against SMU, they had their entire game postponed, but they had to wonder and wait around and see what happened in terms of playing that quarterfinal game in Dallas, but the weather eventually got so bad the field didn't drain properly that their game got pushed from Saturday to Sunday at 2 o'clock. And they had to adjust to that and ended up winning on SMU's field 3-2. Okiyoshi. Back to Rodriguez de Santos. He's charging forward still. Gets off the left-footed shot and wide. With that said, let's get down to our sideline reporter, Marion Crowder. More on Donovan Williams' injury.
Yeah, quick injury update, guys. I saw him being taken into the athletic training room that's over here on the near side of the field. He came back out still with a bit of a limp and told his teammates in passing that he's just going to see how it feels. We do see him down there warming up. I've watched him. It looks like he can push off decently well, so we will see if he indeed feels good enough to come back into this match.
If he does, he has to. That's another thing, but in terms of how your body warms up, he can't come back in the first half. He can re-enter the match in the second half per college soccer substitution rules. We'll see how he stays loose and stays warm, if he can reintegrate himself into the match. Rodriguez dos Santos. I think he thought he wanted Silva to make a run towards the channel. Eventually it goes out. And there's Williams still getting a little treatment. The Marshall contingent now counting Max Trejo, the keeper, as Yannick was given a yellow.
Oh, gotta love the peanut gallery. That's good pressure.
Adedokin on it. Outside of the blue ball, beautiful. But Gradestead just couldn't hold it. Magnuson. Silva. Opposite forward to Rodriguez dos Santos, and now to a pullback for a foul. And with that break, an important note, the NCAA Men's College Cup is brought to you by Marco's Pizza, which Devin would probably look to consume right now. Oh. Hungry man, folks.
Little thin crust cheese action.
Oh.
Black pepper over the top.
Lovely. Continue.
Again, sometimes the oldest methods are the best ones.
Well defended by McHenry, who's deputizing for Williams. Back to Bamford.
A lot more aggression coming through the midfield right now, and Dakota, good understanding of the little pivots that are starting to come through. They've shown a lot of looks just 20 minutes into this match. I mentioned they've built 3, built 4. They've gone flat across the middle. They've created a single depth piece, but most importantly, they are getting a little bit more pressure centrally for Ohio State, like this.
When you say a single depth piece, explain that, please.
So the one midfielder that drops underneath, you're usually getting it from Okiyoshi. Sterngaard comes into it too. If they're operating together, now you're looking for a striker to come in or one of your midfielders to come up and apply support.
What a ball by Rodriguez dos Santos to Teneda.
Guys, moments ago, Williams did get the clear to come back in.
Adedokin. Sorry, continue, Marion.
He did get the clear moments ago from his trainer that he can go back in. Obviously, Dallin, you alluded to it. There's a little bit more strategy than just coming back into the match, but a good sign for Ohio State.
For sure. So there, that helps them. Their depth pieces potentially flag is up, Handholzer's offsides. How hard is that at the collegiate level? Do you have a situation where you had to come out early in a game, but you could go and you sit around for 30 or 40 minutes?
Usually it was disciplinary.
It was not due to injury. Got it.
I think we've had enough of you early on. Why don't you come sit next to me and cool down? Never because of injury, no. Fortunately for me, until I reached the latter stages of my career, which was after college, I never really went through any major injuries like that. Or minor injuries, excuse me. They're all major.
Pacoda pulled it just wide, and Adedokin slipped him through. But the junior from Avon, Ohio, could not put it away. Second team all Big Ten this year.
It's a different ask on the back end of it, but this is the same sort of inflection point we're talking about coming up through the midfield. Here comes the pressure high, and watch him continue his run. There's that narrow shape that we've addressed a few times with Adedokin. And all you're looking, as you're coming back over, he actually wants to try and get this on his left, but he's right foot favorite. So as it comes through, the angle's too narrow. If he lets it drift, he can't get there. Good adjustment, but a very difficult ask.
That right there is how Ohio State became the #1 team in the country. They were the rabbit for everybody to chase because of that quick two-way motion, 40 yards and in.
And Rodriguez de Santos is looking for a foul. No call. Be throw for the Buckeyes. Gile gets it back into play quickly to McHenry. Back to Trejo. Cota. Santa kind of hooks it forward. Gile, Adedokin. Oh, nice touch. And what a recovery here by Pacoda, though. Wise to it. Rodriguez de Santos, dangerous. Deflected off. Sterngard's able to corral it. Sterngard on it again. Polinario.
Marshall a little bit one-sided right now. They're coming narrow with Godar, which we see that look from them a lot, but the problem is Castaneda has gone out high. It's made it real easy on that far side. A lot of one-on-one defending. Parker Grinstead can then come in and provide support centrally to eliminate some of these possessional pieces for Marshall.
Say last off the Buckeyes. Polinario back to Yannick. It's long again. Panholzer, I believe, was in an offside position. Yep, flag goes up. Coverage of the NCAA Championship continues with the Men's College Cup Final Monday, December 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The Vermont Catamounts await the winner of this game, the unseeded Catamounts. For more information on the NCAA Men's College Cup, log on to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Vermont is an unseeded team, has won 5 games in this tournament to get to a final. If you are a seeded squad, you have a bye through the first round and you play at least one home game. After the first round, they have played 3 home games, now 1 neutral game, and they went down in this game today, 1-0 to the 3rd seed Denver Pioneers. Battle back to equalize through Yaniv Bazzini in the 84th minute, and then won in penalties. Yannick going to go long again. Panholzer. Nice touch. He's got Sterngard on the right. Wonder if he sees him. He does not. He shoots it, deflects. Save. The Sterngard actually turns and says, hey, you had me. Sterngard, Quinnipiac transfer. Rookie of the year in the Middle American Conference. Middle American Athletic Conference. The Little Mac, if you will. Make it the 16th start here this year for the Thundering Herd. Henry on it. Gile hooks it up to Jagby. Polinario battling. Loses that battle. Maintain possession. Jagby now And some contact, and he'll go out for a goal kick. Well defended by Polinario. And Ohio State is the #1 overall seed. Of course, they never had to leave home. Get a bye in that first round, beat Western Michigan 2-1. They did advance on penalties against Stanford 4-2, and they were able to handle Wake Forest, another ACC opponent, 3-0 in the quarterfinal. Okiyoshi. It's only the second time Ohio State's been in the College Cup. They actually went from an unranked team before the season, which these players told us. Dalen Velios was very clear. We were unranked before the year to being now the #1 overall seed. Only 3 teams the last 20 plus years have done that. Last team was 2015, Wake Forest. Hooked in, opportunity. Borkovich just couldn't get it on frame. Adedokin cuts inside that. Turn Silva again. Jeez, again. Now he'll play it in. Oh, whoa. Grinstead trying to look like Ibrahimovic there.
I like what they're doing, though, the way that they're unlocking some space on the inside. The first one on the outside, good distribution here by Anthony Samways. And then a little bit of cleverness here. Right one button.
Right one button.
Yes. But what they're doing is, Gile, they rotate him in. Grinstead as near as he gets.
Borkovich. And a good tackle there by Bamford. Borkovich doesn't even complain for a penalty. He knew. And now we'll have a cavalcade of substitutions for Ohio State. We got 4 changes coming in. Got Ashton Bilo, number 15 going in. Tommaso Vila comes in, number 21. You got number 9 coming in, Tanner Creech. Will play up the field for a Jagby. David Rona comes in, number 25 in red. You see him in the middle of the 18 there. He was a Wake Forest player as well. Transferred last season, was injured quite a bit. Last year missed most of the season, now back and healthy, looking to impact the game. He's got 5 goals, 4 assists on the campaign as Pacoda gets himself back to his feet.
Important to note that all those changes for Ryan Mazanov, that's quite customary for the Buckeyes. Home, away, doesn't really matter. They've got a plethora of depth within their ranks, something that over here 7 years of tenure, just 1 win in his inaugural season in 2018 they've been able to compile.
What a journey, man. To 1 win to #1 in the nation.
You know, it's funny. My first college game that I had the pleasure of working for ESPN was actually with Ohio State and Brian Mazanov. They were on the road at Shaka Daly's University of Michigan.
Yeah.
And when he walked into the room yesterday, come a long ways since Jackson Ketchup, who was one of his players at that point in time.
What a name. Ball pinging around the Thundering Herd box, eventually cleared out.
I admired what he said, though. Certainly the quality of recruit has continued to advance itself for them. Because the training sessions I was running in are the exact same ones I'm doing now. You know, it's just you maintain the process, you continue the belief, you get guys to buy into what you're doing within this program.
Okiyoshi clears it out. But yeah, he said we continue to be pragmatic, though, too. We wanted to win things, and we don't tell guys we're going to play some attacking style, some certain style we're not ready to play yet. But we've grown into being able to play in different ways and obviously get results. They went from 6 wins last year. Now, granted, they had a bunch of injuries and some other issues, to 16 this year in the #1 overall seed. Falls to Vila. Back to McHenry. Try to switch it out to Adedokin, but Fujita's there with a large size advantage. Stern guard looking for Rodriguez de Santos, and Henry went right to the back of him, and that's going to get the freshman a card. So we're talking about depth at the center back position, and now you've got a center back on a card, on a yellow.
This is just the brilliance of Enrique Rodriguez de Santos. He baits the center back into bringing him off the back line. One of two things happens, right? He picks it up, he turns him, or you've got the long ball up over the top. Oh, that is certainly dangerous. Immediately waving to the sideline for the trainer. Rodriguez de Santos. But you're catch-22 there if you're a defender. If I'm standing there and you go, if I release him, the quality that he has on a dime turn and they're coming right back at you and space to step into. If you go, that's what I was talking about. That space opens up in behind. It is one of the things that in the changes from Nate Demian into Donovan Williams and now McHenry, he's a little bit slower than the other two. I would say he's probably cleaner on the ball, but he's slower, and you're looking at decision making. He's still a freshman. He's still getting acclimatized into not just Ohio State, but into the collegiate landscape. The good thing is he's got really good vision normally in decision making because he's a 6. He's a holding midfielder. So you can release him in 2 separate spots.
Senior from Rio de Janeiro getting some treatment. We hope he can continue. He's one of the most electrifying players in college soccer. He's 15 goals on the season, good for 4th in the nation. He's got 5 goals, 2 assists in the last 3 games played. He's been an informed striker, to say the least. And he has to exit the pitch. He is up and moving, but this is Rodriguez de Santos comes back on the pitch immediately. A little bit of a hitch in his giddy up. Adedokan and Fujita fighting all day. Stern guard. Oh, Godar.
You got the numbers up high. That little move just a second ago. And I understand that it's on a long ball, but when they're at their best, Ohio State, they get their outside midfielders that talk about how they tuck them in just a little bit. If you can get Adedokan to peel off of Fujita, if he goes, he's going to be free. If Fujita follows, well, now all of a sudden you've got that overlapping space for Velios in this left back position. He's so good at stepping into that too. If Fujita doesn't take the bait and stays to hold serve on the outside, well, now all of a sudden you're talking about the Big Ten midfield of the year running right down the center of the gun.
Opportunity. Tanner Kreese tries to play it back over the square ball, but now step up, kind of floated, and Yannick, some questions were asked by Samways.
Not so great clearance from Thundering Herd. Seen a couple tonight.
Let's say this is how Ohio State's created almost every one of their opportunities, is a turnover within the 30 yards of the Thundering Herd goal line. Floated in toward the penalty spot, and Yannick comes right out and claims. 23rd annual Women's Jimmy V Classic is an all-ACC affair this Sunday on ABC. Louisville hosts number 22 NC State, 1 Eastern, KFC Yum Center. Both those teams start in ACC play. To the powerhouses in women's college basketball. To donate to the V Foundation for Cancer Research, go to v.org/donate. Every single dollar you donate, folks, goes to cancer research. 100% of your donations.
Speaking of NC State, I'm sure Mark Hubbard, the first-year head coach, transfer of New Hampshire, wish he could have kept his hands on Yaniv Berzini before he took off to Vermont.
Yeah, Berzini transferred from NC State a couple years ago, but yeah, Mark Hubbard would have loved to have a chance to work with him as the Wolfpack had a bounce-back year, got themselves into the NCAA tournament for the first time on his first year coming from New Hampshire. Adedokan turns over in a bad area. Panholzer trying to run it down. Magnuson read it the whole way. along the other way. Belios and Silva in a foot race. Silva just has to play it out to touch. Under 10 minutes to go in the first half. Adedokin throws it in. Dangerous as Yannick kind of let it bounce, and almost an opportunity there.
I'm really surprised that he stayed on his line this long. He felt like the center back was going to step over in front of it.
That was Rona, had a beat on it. And now Rodriguez dos Santos just taking a seat. And that again is not good. Daniel Radford being notified, stops the game. He's going to have to come off. Matt Herman, semifinalist, award winner, first team All-League, Sun Belt Conference. The question is, will Chris Grassi substitute him? He can return. And there will be a sub. Twix Sonny Kong will come in and replace Rodriguez dos Santos. He go right up the tunnel for some treatment. So the freshman from Quebec City now comes back in.
Well, the good news is his lead to get himself healthy is probably going to be right around the 30-minute mark to get some treatment, see if you can simulate some blood movement and get the body a little bit more comfortable to push through into the second half. And Sonny Congo, he's going to stretch himself. You know, there was a lot of changeover within this Marshall group that won their first 12 games of the season last year, only lost the two in the regular season, finished the #1 overall seed. One of the biggest ones was certainly up top in the striker position. It was a very late departure in Alvaro Garcia Pascual, who took off to Sevilla. With their two-team an opportunity to progress, and it just so happened that Sonny Kong became available in another scouting game that Chris Grassi was going to look.
He's working on Belios there. He started his career well. He scored 2 of his first 3 games. But obviously a tough team to get into and really get a rhythm. There's so many great attacking players ahead of you, but the freshman had a good campaign. He controls it on his chest now, leaves it for Sterngard. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Okiyoshi steps forward. Also a Mac Herman semifinalist, #8 in the middle of the pitch. The headband. How different is this team without Rodriguez dos Santos, though? Because he can do a lot of stuff that most guys can't in college soccer.
Almost anyone.
So, okay, how different is this team without him?
It changes the flexibility just underneath that front line. What you'll see here is he's not going to wander as much. They're not going to let him. You know, the versatility that he brings isn't the same, but also because he's young and he's still learning how Chris Grassi wants him to play, his role's more finite. They're going to try and play into his feet still for sure. He does have more speed up high. Yeah. He can definitely release a little bit quicker. So if you go long, he and Penholzer can play off of each other. But what you're asking him to do right now is you still need him to be a presence in front of that backline pairing. To just come in, play clean off of him.
Rona now chops it back to Pacoda. Lead driven in. Interesting kind of shot taken there by Bilo. Flipped in again. A lot of body still up there. Pacoda first time strike deflected. Adedokin. Bilo. Delios in the channel. Can't track it down. Too much on it. Coming up at the half, we will take a look back at Vermont's advance to the Men's College Cup final Monday night. An outstanding game as now Panholzer is down. A goal scorer holding his leg. Chris Grassie's concerned about the injuries mounting, but he has to be happy that they did score the earliest goal that Ohio State has conceded all year in the 7th minute of the match. But now you already lose an all-league player, and Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos is in the locker room right now. And now Panholzer, the goal scorer, is on the deck.
Yeah, they've been much better, though, the Ohio State Buckeyes. When you talk about some of the losses for Marshall and Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, when he goes in defensively, they're having trouble up top in the relationship between Panholzer and Sonny Kong, but also they've now pinned them deep. This back line has flattened itself out. They're basically running 5 back across, and it's not quick enough rotation, but also really good depth from Ohio State that's allowing them to knock the ball around a little bit more fluidly.
We've got more subs ready themselves for Marshall. Panholzer is striding back to the table, so he may hold up. João Roberto is being talked to, 12 on the sideline, the sophomore from Santos, Brazil. And now he's putting his penny back on. Santos, of course, the club in the city made famous by first Pelé, applying his trade there. And then 60 or so years later, Neymar also coming from the Santos Academy. Academy, Santos' first team, I should say, and academy. Adedokin. And Bamford got some ball, but a lot of Adedokin and no call. Marco Silva trying to track it down. He can't. Vila is on it. Sonny Kong way back defending.
An argument here from Adedokin. Early ball. It's just beautiful timing from Bamford. Send it back from Marshall.
A desperate cross thrown in there, and Yannick holds it down. Magnuson comes headed over Panholzer. Pop forward for Bilo. He's got Creech, Rona, and Adedokin in the box. Dakota comes short, gets it. All hooked in. Headed down and cleared out. Dakota picks it up. Tries to leave it, gets it to Samways. Creech. Low ball to the arms of Yannick. And Chris Grassie did say to us, we've talked all the time about their offense, and as you always say, the rotations and what they can do with the ball. But he kind of credited his team with adjusting to within a game to learn how to manage a game. And he thought they did it really well at SMU when they had a lead. Is this more of what we're seeing, them kind of just managing the situation here?
No, he's not going to be happy right now.
Okay. I didn't say happy.
He's going to be frustrated with the speed of play, number one. You know, having it is one thing, but what you do with it is another. Right now, they're just really slow, and when they have it at their feet, the movement off the ball has been much slower, which has not allowed them to retain as much possession as they probably would have liked. I do agree with the game management aspect of it. The problem is you're not luring Ohio State in right now.
Yeah.
You're on your back foot. You are on your
Yeah.
back foot, pinned deep down in, and 2 minutes to go. They are trying to get into the dressing room right now.
And Adedokin just switched sides. I mean, he's popped up over on the other side of the pitch and causing some problems there.
Something we saw a little bit more early in midseason from Mazanov, and the movement on the outside wings solidified his positions as the year has gone on. And to me, the biggest one has been, wow, it's going to be interesting to see how the change comes off of that little switch, what that right-hand flank did to open up more space within the midfield to allow these guys to create their man advantages. That's good build.
McHenry fixes it on the Velios, square ball. Finds Velios again. And now Fujita goes down. He wanted to foul on Vila, not going to get it. Ball's back in play. We're at 60 seconds to go in the first half. Dakota, you're right. They want to get into this locker room with the 1-0 advantage.
I give Silva credit here, though, on that movement that just came through. He doesn't get a ton on it, but the way that he works back on the tail end of that play for Marshall, beautiful build by Ohio State, but he slides back across and just a tiny bit of pressure to make sure he's able to thwart off the attack. Flip it, though. You're Brian Mazanov. Hey, guys, great recovery. You're still down 1-0, but the representation of what we saw in the final 20-25 minutes of this first half for Ohio State is exactly why they became the number one team. A lot of pressure up high, making this Marshall team play a little bit more direct. They're not connecting, and they've been much cleaner on the ball, working off the back line.
Magnus and the center back stepping forward as the clock ticks down. He may give it a go. No, he's got a chance for Bilo. But Yannick comes off and claims it. And Yannick's holding his face, saying, got some contact from Bilo. There is no card, no foul. And we are going to break. Thoughts on the first 45? I guess you've already kind of done it. You've done it. Let's hear what the coach has to say after we see what happened here, Devin.
Well, this is that cleanliness we just talked about coming off the back line, the quick movement. Give McHenry and Magnuson a lot of credit because they've had a ton of time and they've taken advantage of it. Break that first line of pressure. You lure the next man out for Marshall, and then as you play through, much better decision-making to set these guys up.
Well, the second time this season, the Buckeyes were trailed at the half. They drew Cleveland State in the season opener last time. Marion is with the Bucs coach, Brian Mazanov.
Coach, despite giving up the early goal, you were on the front foot for the majority of that first half. How do you break through and equalize?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty pleased with the first half. We had the one mistake, as you mentioned. I think it's coming. I thought we had some pretty good chances. We got to put them away.
Who do you want to get more involved in the second half?
I mean, I thought it was pretty equally distributed. I think Mikey started getting on the end of it at the end of the half, and he'll continue to find it. I mean, we gave him a little bit more freedom to just we got number 15 chase him all over the field. So gave him the freedom to look to find it. And the more he pulls the 15, the more he can get behind him. So, I mean, obviously we'd love Mikey to get on the ball, but overall I was pretty pleased with the half.
Coach, thank you.
Great, thank you.
1-0 at the break. The Buckeyes trail the Thundering Herd. They're not Cinderella, Vermont Catamounts. They are sitting at home right now. We're in their hotel, recovering, waiting to see who they'll play Monday night. We'll show you the highlights of the first semifinal, how the Catamounts punched their ticket to the first ever College Cup final.
Hey, Grandma, we've got you something.
For me?
They now have won 10 games in this NCAA tournament in the last 3 years, 2 more than anybody else. They find themselves in the final. This story, they're not Cinderella, but it is remarkable.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back and say thank you to everybody for their ESPN Plus subscriptions, because that came at everything, right? I mean, honestly, it's one of the ones that you walk away from and you hate seeing a loser come out of the game, because there were just so many ups and downs. And to me, it came down to character at the end of it. And what has now 16 goals. 16! That is unreal. In the final 7 minutes of the game, 35% of their goals for Vermont to get them to penalties and get a result.
Yeah, well, first they had to come back from being down a goal. They needed that late goal because everything was desperate. As Sam Bassett, the All-American to be, gets a goal from the outside.
4 players in the country that have at least 8 goals and then also double-digit in assists. He's one of them. The other one's on the field right now. We'll talk about that in a second. All he's looking to do to make a play is the quality distribution we've seen all season long. Whip it in, let someone run underneath it. Nobody does. The wind takes it, buries it in the back of that. You're This was, to me, the way that he's able to jump. It's full extension, perfectly brought down, and then as he's dropping his momentum, come back across it, gets the equalizer.
And now Ben Smith, the trail leg for Nick Herzig. The freshman makes a huge stop there. And they all came out Trevor Wright. He had to score to keep it going. He misses. And in the end, Pioneers falter.
Trevor Wright, the last one, you feel for him because he was so good all night long defensively, and just the way that he opens up his body off the left footer, leaning back a little bit, that's what pushes it high. This team scored not just 35% of their goals in the final 7 minutes, they've got 62% of their goals in the second half. Their second half mentality team, and the whole mantra for them was, yeah, we're not underdogs, we're just dogs. They got fight, they got grit, they got a little bit of everything. And it was certainly showcased in that first semifinal.
Now, when they had this, they told us, when I talked to the players, they want to make their history by winning this championship. But people think if you get to the College Cup, that's enough. You will leave your mark. They thought, no, if they don't win this thing, people will forget about them. They have a sense of desperation about them.
One of the biggest things that I took away, to your point, was when they talked about the narrative of, we can find a way to be an at-large bid. They're trying to remove that narrative from the conversation for the Vermont Catamounts, because right now, the most historical team in nature is a 1989 team that went to a quarterfinal. That can't be the thought anymore. The thought has to be that as college soccer evolves, so does the program. That nationally, they don't not only need to maintain relevance, they need to be the #1 team every single year coming out of their conference. They need to be a seeded team. And if they keep playing this way, they're most certainly going to do so.
They may be a seeded team in the future. They may be a national champion as well. We'll find out Monday night, 8 Eastern. The question is who they're playing. Marshall, Ohio State. We'll find out. Thundering Herd up 1-0. They were a team that put themselves on the college soccer map in 2020 as an unseeded national champ. Will they have a chance to get back there as the 13 seed? We'll find out. Break down the first half after this.
Hey, Grandma, we've got you something.
Me? Ooh, I know this one.
So you're vaping again, right?
No.
Baby, I saw it in your room.
That wasn't mine.
Introducing Tasties. Ooh. They're not just starters. They're party starters. Tasties. Feed the fun.
Store closes in 5. We just need to grab a few more gifts.
Jackpot. That's the one.
Yes. Okay, let's go.
JJ, what? Hey, I made my family disappear. Sorry, guys. I'm just sitting there having the best night of my life. Oh, what's this?
It's a beaut, Jade. It's a beaut.
Get in the car, boy.
When holiday shopping ends, Disney Plus streaming begins.
This is a nightmare.
Someone call for a nightmare? Hang on. That's your nightmare? Some roof damage? I'm a professional. I deal with real nightmares. You just need to sing the State Farm jingle.
State Farm jingle?
Do it!
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm can help with your claim. We're here when you need us.
Great. Can you get rid of it?
Ooh, we getting rid of. Wait.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When my patients experience very dry skin, I recommend La Roche-Posay Lipicard Body Cream. 1 application a day keeps very dry skin away. La Roche-Posay Lipicar Body Cream provides 48-hour hydration and helps repair the skin barrier. Suitable for ages 2 weeks to 100 years old. La Roche-Posay, recommended by 90,000 dermatologists worldwide.
You've chosen Polestar 3 because, of course you have. Now comes the difficult but still fun part, choosing the colors. Now the matching upholstery, sign it. They all match. And the packs, don't forget the packs. The Napa upgrade, plus Pilot Pro and Performance packs. Anything less would be uncivilized. Hang on, where are the valve caps? View offers at polestar.com.
The greatest players in college football, built from grit.
Gabriel, he's gone.
Forged from determination.
Travis Hunter reaches up, makes a spectacular grab.
Molded by perseverance.
What can Ashton Jeanty do?
Sculpted with confidence.
How about Campbell?
4 finalists, 1 dream.
One of those 4 men will be etched in history, the Heisman Trophy winner. Travis Hunter is a huge favorite right now by the boys and girls in Vegas. Find out if he wins it Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Chris Fowler hosting for his 31st year. Welcome back to the 65th edition of the Men's College Cup here in Cary, North Carolina. The Thundering Herd up 1-0 at the break over Ohio State. Let's show you the highlights, and we start with one where a long ball played from Yannick, the goalkeeper, up looking for Tariq Panholzer. Doesn't connect, a harbinger of things to come, but also to add insult to injury. Donovan Williams, who's deputizing for Nathan Demian, goes down with an injury.
And the goal itself comes off a very similar moment, but Demian's out, so William comes in. You know that he's got speed. Does a really good job tracking back here, but knee-on-knee contact that they actually said would actually come off of his calf that caused an issue. So Nick McHenry comes in. They had just had a moment off a set piece in the corner where the center back came up, had a nice little header ringing off the crossbar. Well, now you've got a 30-yard gap because they don't get themselves reset before Yannick plays the ball off the back line, and then it's just off to the races. Panholzer, incredibly clean first touch to get himself in behind. The second one shifts his hip sideways. It pauses the goalkeeper, Max Trejo, and Marshall were out running 1-0. They didn't really close the half the way that they wanted to, though.
That's what we want to talk to you about, because very rarely we do this at the break, where the team trailing 1-0. Like Ohio State got better chances at the end, controlled the game. What does Marshall need to do to maintain a lead or win the game?
Ohio State looked like Ohio State. Marshall looked like, I don't know what that was, honestly. And that's probably the conversation going in, is how well they started. To me, they got away from what they're good at. That's the ball at their feet. That's a lot of pieces moving off the ball for sure, but creating those overloads where they shift you right, they shift you left, they play long up over the top. They defended for their lives. This team is not built to defend deep like that. So certainly activity level up top defensively to help out. I still go back to the change that happened, which we'll see how it starts in the second half. Ohio State on that right-hand flank. The second that they came even closer on the right mid and dropped him in further, that caused a ton of frustration. That's a conversation for the left side of Marshall. Sit a little bit deeper there. Push your striker out there to get pressure so that you retain balance. They lost their shape.
Lineker Rodriguez de Santos, one of the best strikers, best attacker players in the country. Marshall left, went in the tunnel. If he can't return, how much does that affect this team?
Well, the problem is you lose goals for sure. To me, I go back to that defensive pressure, though. When they brought him here, they said, listen, we want you for your goals, but more so your understanding as a footballer because he's got a high IQ. The vetting process to come to this university is an interesting one. And we can tell you more about that. But immediately when they made the change, you could tell that defensively they didn't understand where the triggers were to go and chase. So the back line had a lot more luxury if you're Ohio State to play. But also, when the pressure did come, they just stepped right through it and sliced and diced any which way they wanted to. That's the biggest thing, is the defensive issue.
Yeah, Ohio State right now, too. They've been pressing them, getting turnovers, creating chances off those turnovers. They seem destined to score, but as of right now, it is 1-0 Thundering Herd advantage. Will the number 1 team in the nation, with the number 1 seed, get themselves to a College Cup final, or the Herd get back there like they did in 2020? We find out. Second half kicks off next.
Hey, Grandma, we've got you something.
For me? Ooh, I know this one.
That's the DQ Cheeseburger Lovers Deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
You
lost it?
You might not need crypto, but if your son loses his wallet on spring break in Cabo and needs money like right now, you might.
Well, put me on the naughty list. This has never happened before. Let's see. And that, people, is why we have Target Circle 360.
Hey, dear!
Don't miss anything on your list with unlimited same-day delivery.
Store closes in 5. We just need to grab a few more gifts.
Jackpot. That's the one.
Yes. Okay, let's go.
JJ, what? Hey, I made my family disappear. Sorry, guys. I'm just sitting there having the best night of my life. Oh, what's this?
It's a beaut, Jade. It's a beaut.
Get in the car, boy.
When holiday shopping ends, Disney Plus streaming begins. At this very moment, toxic chemicals are endangering one of the most beautiful and fragile ecosystems on the planet. When you vape, you may be exposing your lungs to toxic chemicals. Are you polluting yourself?
Own a design studio. Win a really big design contract. Realize you're more of a creative type than a finance type. Realize you got this. Use QuickBooks to get your cash flow flowing. Get live expert assistance to maximize your tax savings.
I can help with that.
Get back to doing what you love. Manage and grow your business all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks, your way to money.
Welcome back to Cary, North Carolina. Halftime, 1-0 Ohio State trails the Marshall Thundering Herd. The Buckeyes playing for their wounded center back, Nathan Demian, who's back in Columbus. Heart-wrenching situation this week, when he was injured in a shooting and a stray bullet. But he is watching his team. He supported his team. He sent them a message. They're trying to rally. They're down 1-0, but they controlled a lot of the second half of the first half. Let's get down to Marion Crowder with Chris Grassi, the Marshall head coach.
Coach did well to get the early goal, but were you pleased with your team's first half performance?
That was a little less focused than I would like it to be with some of the clearances. We knew it was going to be tough. Once you got the goal, you kind of go into that mentality of like, oh, we just got to see this out. But I think they've settled down a little bit now. I'm going to play in the game. I like some of the things they're doing. We keep getting in. So it's just kind of going to be how much can we draw them on top of us without bad consequences and then hit them on the break when they're coming in. We're trying to play out, but they're pressing well. We're pressing well. So it's going to be an interesting second half.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, well, Chris Grassi might be happy to see this if Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos can go in the second half. He's warming up, but it looked kind of ginger. Donovan Williams, we'll see if he's going to be ready to go here in the second half. Marion, anything more on these injuries?
Yeah, Dallin, for Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos, he is going to start this second half. Looked at coach, tell him I'm fine, don't worry about it. On the flip side, for Ohio State, Donovan Williams, he was warming up for the entirety of the halftime, but is still on the bench, will not start the second half.
Thank you, Marion. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Dallin Cuff, and now college soccer rules, if you left in the second half, you cannot re-enter. So Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos has to go for the full 45, or his day will be done early. On the other side, Williams can sit there for a while and maybe be able to re-enter this match if needed. Devin, how to either one of these situations with Lineker in? He looks like he's running pretty well right now, right in the middle of your screen, with Williams potentially staying out and McHenry remaining in on a yellow card, mind you.
I think Henry defensively actually did really well for himself. Just got to clean up some of these balls coming forward. Mentioned how much time that they had, so maybe a little bit more simplistic. Take a look at his backline brethren and Siggy Magnuson, how well he did, and kind of take it as a cue. For Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos on both sides, we saw him kind of get pressure. You want to tackle, just feel a little bit of the physical side of the game, but then you want to play into him and establish that confidence that he's so good with the ball at his feet down in the pocket, and just allow him to quickly get assimilated back into this environment.
Samway's pass deflected by Teneda. And Bamford touches it out. Again, this Ohio State team has only trailed once this year at halftime. It was the season opener against Cleveland State, which they came back to draw 1-1. They'll need to find a way to draw this thing or win it, or the number 1 seed will fail yet again to win the College Cup. Unfortunately, it's become a pretty typical thing. It's hard to be the number 1 overall seed and get all the way through. Only two teams have done it in the last 20-plus years and win the thing. Wide to Jagby. He was tough in the first 15, 20 minutes of this game. Just to finish that, the number 1 teams that did win it overall was UNC in 2011, Maryland in 05. Jagby, all Big Ten freshman team.
I was going to just talk about these two teams. You mentioned the only 2 number 1s to ever do it. Both ACC teams, Maryland at the time in the ACC. It's just the second time in a quarter of a century that the ACC team is not in the College Cup. I think it speaks to the change of the dynamics, certainly overall, what has been the growth of so many programs and the sustained quality as well within that.
So Devin mentioned 3 straight years ACC champion. Every year there's been somebody at the College Cup, with the exception of 1 year back to 2002. And the Catamounts, first time ever at the College Cup, first time ever at a final. Great story for Rob Dow's team. We'll see them Monday, 8 Eastern, ESPN2, compete for sporting immortality. Gile combining with Samways. Back to Gile. Looking for Rona. Is able to get a touch on it, but couldn't control it. And Apollinario sends it back to Yannick. Looks forward. Brazilian to Brazilian. With Rodriguez dos Santos from Apollinario. They can't connect, but a panhole, so the goal scorer is on it. Wheels around. Looking for some help. Nice turn by Sterngard. Okiyoshi. Bamford. Back to Fashida. Turned over. Quick restart here by Ohio State. Rona couldn't get his header in the path of Adedokin. Up to Grinstead. Samways. Rona. Wow. Mustaches. They've done it for 3 years, because 3 years ago they went to the quarterfinals. 2 years ago, last year they went to, 2 years ago to the quarterfinal. Last year to the round of 16. This year all the way to the final. So the boys and the coaches, all the coaches got the stashes.
Zach Barrett, the best one.
I think, yeah, Zach Barrett's is phenomenal. He's a little more grown. He can do it. We have some younger men on the team and some older men that just can't do it, which I'm one of them too, so I'm right there with you boys. Ain't gonna happen for us, you know.
That's got to be trademarked immediately. Dollar signs.
Dollar, yeah. Especially today's world.
NIL, let's go.
Playoff stashes, boys. And Vermont they're the only Division I program in the state of Vermont. So they told us too yesterday, they feel that support of the entire state. And they had a lot of folks here. They were loud, they were rowdy, and I can imagine it's going to be even more aggressive on Monday night. Trejo waiting. He now will go long with it. Gile. Shagby trying to turn. Very physical with Godar. Godar wins the battle. Junior from France. Now Rodriguez dos Santos finds Panholzer. Flag stays down. He tries to cut it back. Oh, Trejo or the defender. Somebody got a piece of that to keep it from doubling the advantage for the Thundering Herd. They're trying to continue to apply the pressure.
They give credit here to Patrick Bamford, who slid back over and then thought he was going to carry this a little bit further because of how tight that window was. But that's the quality of Rodriguez dos Santos. Just
And of course, the first time we'll ever have the 12-team college football playoff littered with bowl games. The Big Six bowls leading up to the national championship later in January. Things start December 20th, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Indiana against Notre Dame, in-state battle. As we mentioned, the ACC's relevance in recent college cups and the college soccer landscape overall. The last three champs for ACC teams that was broken by Marshall back in 2020. They beat Indiana in the final. We mentioned that they were an unseeded team, and Chris Grassi trying to put them on the map. They did this, that. Georgetown beat Virginia the year before in an absolute thriller. They went to penalties, and George Gelnovacz's crew could not take care of business, and Brian Weiss and Georgetown got another star above their crest. Vermont never been at the stage before. Ohio State has never been at the final before either. They were at this tournament, it's the stage, one other time in 2007. Lost in the semifinal to Wake Forest, who eventually won the national championship. Played through, maybe an opportunity here. Body's falling in the middle. Okiyoshi just scoops it up, passes it to Taneda, his countryman from Japan. Going to play it forward to Panholzer, can't connect. Samway's on it. He turns and plays it up the channel to Jagby. It's got Roan on the middle, goes out for a corner.
Yeah, both outside backs of Ohio State have done an excellent job so far in this match of sitting on their defensive responsibilities and then quickly providing some of this distribution coming forward. Great job of holding the width for him.
They clean that up. Wake and Ohio State was the final where Wake won in 2007. Adedokin. Out-swinging ball headed out. Samways. Back to Adedokin. Jagby. Heavy touch. I doesn't have a chance. Pecota back into the mixer. They fall. Cleared out by Polinario. Henry's peeling for a foul there. He's not going to get it.
Well, Jagby's touch wasn't as clean as he would have liked, but able to stay on his feet and pull the second one through. A lot more space between Bamford and Apollinario than we saw in the opening 25 minutes.
Fourth quarter of the match for the Bucks. In-swinging ball. Almost fell to Pecota. Jagby and him were both vying for the ball.
Certainly turned into a discombobulated mess. Second chance balls were certainly something that to the topic of conversation in semifinal one between Denver and Vermont Catamounts. Vermont winning that conversation that allowed them to get the equalizer and then go on in penalties to get a result.
Back to McHenry. Rodriguez dos Santos cutting in. He goes down, wants a call, and he's not going to get it. Trejo distributes. Grinstead, nice touch. Velios hooks it up towards Rona. Trejo, nice distribution with the hands. What have you made of the first 12 minutes of this half?
Still feel like the same sort of energy that was lacking to close out the first half for Marshall is carried over. There's, say it politely, communication going on. Not necessarily with the most appropriate verbiage between the Marshall players on the field. They're frustrated. And some of the lack of rhythm within the game for them is certainly part of it.
How hard is it when you're used to controlling a game and kind of playing your way to not have it on your
frustrating.
terms?
It's their whole identity. Yeah. Although, to your point in the first half, as the year has gone on, they've gotten better at relinquishing some of that.
Yeah.
Where they're saying, you know, okay, we can't do everything that we want. We got to find other ways to win. That was a big conversation for Jamie Franks and how his Denver team had gotten better throughout the year. Interesting because both of those teams, very possession-oriented.
Oh, low ball played in Panholzer. The goal scorer gets it back on his left, tries to leave it. It was almost a moment that could have really changed this game.
We have to make sure you do down is that if you are that type of team that sees a lot of the ball, that feels comfortable, that wants to create a lot of combinations, that your mind doesn't wander. Because you're going to have these spells where you are chasing, you're under pressure. Doesn't mean the game's gone.
Yeah.
Friendly reminder, they're still sitting up 1-0.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Still a very animated technical area for Marshall and Chris Grassi. A lot of direction being given. We're still seeing that same sort of overload that I talked about, though, on this right-hand flank that, to me, the change 25 minutes in. And while we've seen it from Ohio State all year long, it's just much more narrow in nature on this right-hand side that has created that numerical advantage centrally.
Center back down. High Pinto in the game now. He clears it out. As you see, Polinario, I believe, on the deck. sophomore from Sao Paulo.
Sure it's
Tangled with
Jagby. He drops flat. Oh, that's a stinger. Put you back in the wind. So I've addressed that move a couple of times. A bit surprised at the lack of adjustment within the midfield for Marshall. Now there's something to be said about staying true to yourself for sure, but also it's not hard to see it, right? You know, the tendency is wings get narrow, okay? Well, they usually have depth and they kind of have this box forward to still make their way to strikers, play narrow, allow the outside backs to get high. When they're predominantly doing it on one side, it creates this triangle. The problem is Sterngard and Okiyoshi, they're flat because of the numbers that Marshall are committing up. So there is this 15-yard gap that is just allowing them to ping it around much easier. So if you want to bring Teneda a little bit narrower, sure, absolutely. If you want to have Rodriguez dos Santos, which isn't the correct one, but drop him in on the 6, that's a possibility as well. Have one of your strikers work back. You bump another one off the back line. They have options, just haven't responded to it yet. And that's the space I was just talking about.
Okiyoshi takes off the foot of Adedokin. McHenry, nice step though, gets it to Grinstead. Jagby, back to Grinstead. McHenry. Rona finds Gile, leaves it, and what a recovery by Okiyoshi. And then the ball gets blasted through and goes out, but going to be for a corner. And now you've got Hai Pinto down. Excuse me, you got Teo Godard down. 21, not 31.
But you hit the nail on the head, though, with the midfield retreat move by Okiyoshi. This is why he's regarded as one of the best midfielders in the country, recognizing space-time. Certainly you'd prefer him to be forward-facing, going the other way, but the way that he tracks back here, that's a great touch to come through, and he saw it the whole way. That inversion by Parker Grinstead and the understanding by Okiyoshi of where the threat was coming from, quickly shifting over to provide that physical presence. Really well done.
5th quarter of the match for the Buckeyes. Adedokin over it. Floats it. Comes all the way through. Grinstead. Stuck in the camera. Well done by the ball boys.
Thumbs up from the cameraman. Well done, sir. Should have had him sign it.
Okiyoshi comes back to take it. Dan Edwards doing great work down there, Danny. His autograph, I'm sure, worth quite a bit.
Definitely more than mine.
Oh, definitely more than mine.
Oh, that's a great touch.
Nice from Adedokin to Jagby. Nice, back to Adedokin, not the best touch. Defended Will in the middle of the pitch by Fujita. Finds the feet of Rona. Grinstead. Jagby wants it, he's there. Can't play him through, though. Wants to get back on that right. He wants to get back on that right. Leaves it for Pecota. Falls. What a save by Yannick. Flag stayed down. They needed their keeper to stand tall, and he did. Pecota's still on it. Drives it. Blocked by Okiyoshi. The Buckeyes continuing to pour on pressure. Jagby with the flick on. Okiyoshi seems to be in all the right spots defensively now for Marshall.
He hits it clean off the instep. Thought he was in an offside position, but further if you look at the player from Marshall just over the back shoulder, there was.
Odaria. Sorry,
Apolinario was there. He adjusted back. David Rona has done some sort of service up top. The good news is he's got an engine. He's working his tail off to continue to apply pressure on those center backs. They need a bit more quality, though, right now, just to clean it up between those top two, because they've had a few half looks now.
And that flag goes up as Verona came back from an offside position. As Bodies are flailing now. And the crowd coming to life here now. Yannick with an absolutely huge save. He's got an assist already in the game, folks, on the only goal to Panholzer when it went back to front. And now the junior from Belgrade, you see he's top 10 in goals against average. He's got 7 shutouts on the campaign. Got healthy and now it started his 15th match of the season.
There's another position that Marshall lost in the offseason. Gabriel Parada to the professional ranks, applying his trade in the USL Championship with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They had movement on the back line too, so I alluded to it earlier that the striker position in Alvaro Garcia Pascual, but they also lost Matt Bell, All-American player.
Yeah.
Massive draft pick for them, right? Generally, Shadidas Morstigan on the back line. Almesh, the outside midfielder spot. So while certainly a ton of these guys were involved in that #1 overall seed, there's a lot of new faces too.
Jagby looking for Adedokin. He's got Velios on the overlap, gets it to him. He's got numbers in the box. Jagby might be able to keep it in. He does. Kiyoshi again with the interception. Kept in though. Grinstead. Chile. Frenchman striding forward, leaves it for Grinstead. Will it fall again for a Buckeye? And Rodriguez de Santos goes down, holds the ankle, gets the call. And now a couple subs for Marshall. They've definitely gone long with some of these guys out here for many minutes. João Roberto, number 12, comes in from Santos, Brazil. You got Pablo Simon coming in as well, the Spaniard, replacing Teneda. And Ryan Holmes, a junior local product from West Virginia, joining the fray as well.
Watch this right here, Pablo Simon. This little relationship that you're going to get of João Roberto and Simon on this left-hand side, it was something that was first choice as recently as 4 games back before Silva came in and Ruhi Teneda took over on the width. Simon's going to give you a little bit more on the outside. That's going to unlock more space as they move central, and especially that man right there, João Roberto. Rodriguez dos Santos needs help. He's doing a lot of work off the ball by himself, and it's pulling him out of positions that when Marshall is winning the ball, he's unavailable.
Rona draws the foul. And a little extracurricular, but eventually they get the ball back. Adedokin plays Grinstead. Dinked into Pacoda. Velios driven in. Finds Samways. And now Marco Borkovic, the junior from England, Derby County product. Comes back in the match. All Big Teams, Big Ten second team this year. Had a really good youth career at Derby County. Actually played in the Carabao Cup. Had a chance to play one of the cup competitions with other big boys in England.
It's a good shift up top by Jagbe, but just the necessity for the Buckeyes right now of tidying up some of these chances that are poking themselves out.
McHenry. Calls to Pablo Simon. Velios able to identify just in time to stop Rodriguez dos Santos from making a play on it.
Well, I can tell you this much. They got a lot more energy out of the substitutes.
Yeah.
Marshall, a lot of chasing going on. Much more fleet of foot than what we saw in the last 10 minutes.
Godar saying he didn't touch Borkovic. That'd be a quick restart for the Buckeyes. It is. Samways trying to track this one down. A lot on it. He's able to get the cross off. Okiyoshi, cool as you like. Out to João Roberto. Dadekin. Whoa! Whew. Dayton transfer second year with Ohio State and really making his presence felt this season and almost in this match.
He's not far off on this, and that's just way too much. He's trying to lead him to the end line for Gita and recognizing that, but the support came too quick, overstepped, space opens up. Great recognition. Adedokan on his little cutback inside. He's not far off, caught it pretty clean.
Fujita draws the foul on Adedokan. And we are halfway through the second half. And the number 1 seed, Ohio State, find an equalizer in our opening match. Vermont was down with 7 minutes to go and found that equalizer against Denver and went on to win in penalties. They're waiting for the winner of this Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. The men's college national champion will be crowned. Rona and Bamford in the battle. Bamford's going to be called for a foul there. A chance for the Buckeyes to clip one in the box. Tenth foul of the match for the Thundering Herd. Vukovic over it. Waits it back post. Yannick off his line. Doesn't get it cleared. It's loose. Adedokan blocked. Samways on it. He's got Borkovic. Gets the cross off. Oh, incoming was McHenry, the freshman that subbed on, but couldn't get it clean. And bodies are in the box down. Fujita.
He actually overjumped this. And he gets a ton of air. I think McHenry called into action about 15 minutes into the first half and doesn't catch it clean there. On the second one that's put in, great job, by the way. As this thing gets recycled, watch the patience. That touchback across to allow this overlapping run. Doesn't force it right away. He's just trying to put it back in, and he gets really high. McHenry just jumped it, a tad.
Pablo Simon cannot control, turned over again. Ohio State continues to tilt the field to find an equalizer. Fujita, nice job to block it and to maintain possession.
Oh, that's a card.
That's a dangerous tackle by Borkovic, and the card is coming immediately.
He's trying to make a play here, recognizing he's not going after the player. He sees that touch right there is a little bit further away than necessary for Simon. Orkovich thought he had himself a window to be able to quickly step into it, and unfortunately for him, the IQ of Simone, the way that he shifted his body back in front of him, prevented him doing so.
Now we have a couple subs. For Marshall now. Hi, Pinto, now he joins the fray, 31 in white. Grew up with the FC Porto Academy, currently one of the best teams in Portugal, Champions League team. Part of the Portugal youth national team setup, replacing Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos. And you also have Aman Sordo. Sordo joins. The Moroccan native, Gardner-Webb transfer. Number 10 right there in the mix there. Velios up to Adedokin. They have a Marshall player down, and they gave the foul there. And Bamford appealed for the call, and he got it.
The angle that we had, it was certainly off the ball when it gets sprayed down into the channel, but the angle we had, I didn't see it. Certainly there was a coming to, but really difficult to tell as to where that contact came through.
And Daniel Radford, the official, saying, let's play. We got to play. Let's take a look at the top right of your screen. Ooh. Just incidental?
It's certainly incidental. Doesn't mean it's not a foul.
Okay. Well, David Rona was called for the foul, and that's all that matters. As Daniel Radford made the Thundering Herd back in play quickly, as we are now under 19 minutes away from them getting back to their second College Cup final. Looking for that second star above the crest. As Yannick scoops it up. Now, he's on a yellow from time wasting, essentially, in the first half, which you don't see very often. Pinto couldn't bring it in. Magnuson. Samways. Dakota. On ball at Adedokin. Can he bring this down? A lot of contact, no call. And Fujita has followed him all over the field. Made it tough. Now you got the other way. Jean Roberto in a foot race with Magnuson. Can't control it. And now you've got Fujita down. Sophomore from Japan. Just kind of locked down that starting spot at right back. On the deck. He's been battling Adedokin, that man on your screen who's Mac Herman Senate finalist all game long.
There's no foul there. And certainly not the first time, by the way, from Fujita that there's been contact on him. His ankle just pops a little bit on the tail end of things. You wonder if it's from that or there was the initial correction in the first half down here in front of us. And that side right now is really interesting for me. Fujita, number one, quickly this medical team is coming over there to check on him. Number two, the addition of Hai Pinto into it, where 18 months prior, this team is out now 4-3-3. They only built 4. They moved their 2 outside backs line. That's it. And Pinto defensively is great. Now he's asked to play a little bit higher, and if Fujita is not able to continue, you bring him deeper. He can mark defensively for you, but again, you lose that presence on the right side.
Yeah, and we're not going to replay it again because if you went further, it seems like in that replay, there's a serious injury here. They're bringing out the stretcher, and they almost said it immediately. Once he got some attention from his teammates, there was extra medical staff run out there. The stretcher is coming from the corner right now, as the sophomore from Japan has what looks like a pretty serious injury here. We never want to speculate, but stretcher coming out, never a good sign. Chris Grassi and his team trying to just.
Alexander Vukovic will come in for him. You know, one of the things that Marshall has done really good at, and he's giving him instructions, is the transfer market. A ton of teams have. They actually brought him in this year, and one of the reasons they went and attacked him was he wants high IQ footballers. And Vukovic, when he was at UC Riverside, he would actually take game film, isolate the back line, and break it down for his teammates separate from the coaching staff, giving them direction. Here's where we're going. So when they went through the recruiting process to bring him here, he didn't have to pitch himself because that rumor had already matriculated to Chris Grassi and kind of just said, hey, man, I got a bunch more toys here. So you never want to lose a starter, and certainly the class that you get out of Fujita. However, highly regarded recruit and certainly plenty of experience for Alexander Vukovic. This would be his 20th appearance on the season for the All Big West defender. 2023 that's come over as a transfer from UC Riverside.
Now, let me ask you this, because anytime you see a scene like this on the field, these are things that athletes and players see, but how do you handle this from an emotional standpoint if you're Marshall watching one of your teammates kind of fall right here on the field in a very serious manner?
You're hoping you use this as a catalyst to provide some energy. To be fair to them, even before the injury, they've been flat. There's been a lot of chasing going on. And again, you're walking over, you're checking on your fallen teammate. Very similar to the situation in terms of the removal of an integral piece in Nate Demian from Ohio State. Different circumstances, of course, but you're trying to say, listen, let's do it for him. So checking on your teammate for sure, talk about the game, and then also getting some emotion and energy back into this. Hey, we got 17 minutes to go to get a result here.
And if you're just tuning in, as Devin just alluded to, we know Nate Demian, the center back from Ohio State, is watching Saturday night after they had beaten Wake Forest in the quarterfinal match, knowing they're punching their ticket. He was victim of a shooting and a stray bullet incident near Ohio State's campus, and he is not here with this team. That's why you see the 3 jerseys on the sideline. That's where these guys have been going through an emotional roller coaster with Demian going through surgery that first day. They realized he would be okay, because that was in question at the very beginning. Would he survive? They were able to visit him, Brian Mazanoff and his teammates. He sent them well wishes and a message today to buoy their confidence. So this Ohio State team has been dealing with something on a whole different plane that is way supersedes anything in the athletic realm. But what Taka Fujita is just happening right now is more common in sports, but is also emotional and hard to overcome when you watch your fallen teammate on the field like this.
You and I saw one of our first broadcasts of the year in Wake Forest at Clemson, right?
Christian Escribano down in a terrible leg injury, the man that's dealt with so many injuries. And he had to be stretchered off in that game where Wake Forest ultimately lost to Clemson in that game, though beat them twice later in the season for an ACC title and also in the NCAA tournament.
Here's the other side of it, which we saw immediately for Ohio State as a group. We've seen individual players coming over, the way that they're attacking this downtime from a coaching standpoint and how to give the proper instruction for this runway that is just outside of a quarter hour remaining in the match. Right, where have we struggled in this game? What are we trying to attack here moving forward? How does this look once Fujita departs? How do we all have to adjust ourselves to make sure that we're providing proper coverage and yet still have a representation going the other way?
Okay, well, while they still tend to Fujita, we are going to step away here and go to commercial. When we come back, hopefully he's being okay and tended to, and we will resume the College Cup semifinal. Hey, did he get up and run again? I don't want to see it if it's like gross. Well, no, because the actual tackle is what I'm like, wait, that doesn't look like. Oh, God. I don't think I'll look at that. No, I see. Oh, man. Okay. Go down, young man. Okay. Back here at North Carolina, Men's College Cup second semifinal of the night. Marshall up 1-0 over Ohio State alongside Devin Kerr. I'm Dallin Cuff. Marion Crowder down on the pitch for us. Taka Fujita, the sophomore from Japan, is being tended to. They've made some progress in terms of getting him on the stretcher. A scene you never want to see in any sporting event. Nevertheless, at this stage of a season, when you know so much of these players have put so much into this, you know Fujita, who's had an outstanding game defending one of the best players in the country, Michael Adedokin, continually, and now Fujita is on the stretcher. You hear the applause starting to come in.
We discussed just prior to the break the direction from the coaching staffs, what changes might need to be made for Marshall. How about all of the momentum that Ohio State had gained within this game, and now all of a sudden your fear is that bottoms out due to the lack of rhythm because of the stoppage of play due to injury, right? Stay fired, stay focused, and great to see that right there from Fujita.
Yeah, he applauds the fans, and they give him a round of applause as he is taken off. And as Chris Grassi said, he found him in Japan at a showcase event and said to us yesterday, I'm shocked he's still in college.
Yeah.
He's that good that he has a professional future. He has a phenomenal future in college, and we all hope him as fast a recovery as possible with the situation that he's facing right now. But Alexander Vukovic did come in, the senior transfer from UC Riverside, as you mentioned. Born and raised in Serbia, and how he will deputize in this game is critical now, given that Fujita's assignment was so much about Adedokin.
So my question here is going to be, and it looks like it might be playing out this way, we'll see, is maintaining that balance on the right-hand flank. You can drop Hai Pinto in there, right? Again, different profiles, got a little bit more speed. Not as good tightening and marking, but can close down in open spaces. You can also bring Okiyoshi out of the midfield, which we've seen recently. We had a nice little back and forth joke with him yesterday. But again, now all of a sudden, the running mate that was next to Ryan Holmes and just under Simone, you lose that too.
Yeah.
So there's a give and take with this.
And Okiyoshi was kind of marked up right there. So we'll see if that's actually how they kind of approach it. Played up forward to João Roberto. In a foot race with Magnuson, he does win it. That's Pablo Simone. Simone turns it over. Well done by Roberto. Sordo. Ryan Holmes now trying to hook it forward to Pinto. Adedokin. Looking for the switch to Grinstead. Yannick controls. Under 16 to go. Coverage of the NCAA championships continues with the Men's College Cup final Monday, December 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Men's College Cup, log on to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Vermont, the Catamounts are waiting in the wings for Ohio State, or will it be Marshall, who's got the 1-0 advantage, holding on here with less than 15:30 to play? Vermont in their first ever College Cup final, taking down Denver in our first semifinal. There's Rob Dow, the head coach of the Catamounts.
Past his bedtime.
Him and me both. Shout out to our crew right now. 2 games and a 30-minute show in between. But we got gas left in the tank because there's going to be drama here late, potentially, just like there was in that Catamounts game. They were down 1-0 into the 84th minute before an equalizer came. Dokin's pass pulls Velios wide. He does keep it in play to maintain possession. Looking forward to Samways, headed out. Anderson back to Gile. Anderson, the center back, taking the space out to Grinstead. Oh, poor clearance. Thanks. Pacoda ride the challenge from Holmes. Adedokin. Trying to get end line past Okiyoshi. And that might be a goal kick. Nope, corner kick. I was there with you. I thought that went up Adedokin.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. They got to be really careful here, Marshall. They're sitting 6 deep on the back line, way too much space at the top of the box. And if Ohio State can recognize that and just slide across quicker, they've got options.
Okiyoshi deflects it, as he's done so many times today. Workovich back to Adedokin. He'll get the cross off, headed out. João Roberto, can he hold it for a second even? Maybe more. Good job by the Brazilian. Does not draw the foul, or does. They pull it back. Daniel Radford, well done by João Roberto, the sophomore from Santos, Brazil. Now there's some extracurriculars as he keeps dribbling around as the clock now stops. It was ticking prior to that. Holmes throw in. Marshall's fans urging them forward. Let's go Herd is the chant. At what point, if you're Brian Mazanoff, do you start to change things or go?
Right,
you're not changing
no,
now.
I'm not changing if I'm him right now. You know, you also want to see another 2 or 3 minutes exactly how this looks to play out on the back line. Again, I talked about how deep Marshall were. You've got numbers high. They need this second wave. One of the things that they found a lot of success through was getting Pacoda up higher and letting him runs like this where he pushes through. They need more of that. We saw it in the first half.
Pacoda trying to keep it in. And turned over.
Gotta be brave, right? I mean, I would say that in the first minute of this game, but certainly with just inside 12 minutes to go, it's risk reward, right? No sacrifice, no victory. If you're Pacoda, you have that ability to step up through. Gile has been incredible centrally for the Buckeyes. He's covering space. He's clean on the ball. He's winning tackles. You need to go and attack the game, and certainly when they invert Grinstead, try and play off of each other.
Adedokin from Velios. He turns it into space. He'll give it a ride. No, he'll clip it toward the back post. Headed down. Samways. Got numbers in the back post. Good ball. Falls to Velios. Cleared out by Vukovic. He tries to really get it out of the dodge, but just leaves a bit of a turnover. And now Adedokin take it down in a dangerous area. Pinto does not like the call.
That's certainly the right one, though. It was a waterfall effect. Just 3 separate instances where they couldn't get the correct clearance from Vukovic, and then Johnny Pinto's trying to bail them out. Unfortunately, the quick reflexes of one of the best in the country in the college game this year, Anadokin, has set them up for what is a really interesting move. Now, here's the thing. Borkovic can go solo here. He's good enough as a marksman from this distance to hit it alone. But just off the right shoulder, Anadokin, you need to be careful with Marshall. Bring someone up to try and come and apply pressure if they bring this lateral to move it around the wall and let him have a strike.
See what they do. Borkovic and Anadokin are there. Anadokin walks away. He's asking the ref to move. They may leave it for him, like you said. No, Borkovic goes off the mark.
With all that space, just a little surprised they didn't try and move it around to give themselves a better angle, but we've seen the quality over the course of the season from Uncle Borkovic and what he can do from that distance. Not surprised he hit it.
Under 9 minutes to play. Can Marshall possess the ball for a little bit of time to take some of the pressure off? Pablo Simon turns it over promptly. Anadokin now released down the channel. Okiyoshi is with him. Help is coming with Vukovic. And turned over. Left to Pablo Simon. Pakoda keeps it in, but Okiyoshi now on it with a little bit of space and time. And he just blasts him. Regroup. Just over 8 to go. Trip to the College Cup final is on the line. Samways onside on the ball. Flips it back, chested down to Yannick. Very calm and well done by Polinario. Elios loses his footing. Back to the Buckeyes. Samways to Grinstead. Leaves it for Gile. Good step by Polinario again, but loses the ball. Borkovic able to keep it and put it up to Grinstead. Early ball played and Anadokin arriving. That would have been spectacular if they could have pulled it off, but the pressure is still there. Bilo on it. Velios. Pakoda. Oh, just squeaked through in play. Dangerous deflection. Samways is on it. Sordo with the block. Samways gets it back in the mixer there. Velios trying to sort out his feet. Magnuson looked like he was winding up a shot. Leaves it for
really good
Borkovic.
ball.
Still Borkovic. And eventually cleared out. 6:20. Marshall clinging to the 1-0 advantage. Elios keeps it in. Back to Bilo. Gile. Leaves for Magnuson. Nice ball again. And almost connected with Bilo. Yannick's able to keep it in the 18 with his hands. Give a little reprieve for the Thundering Herd. Now we're at 5:30. Devin, still more of the same, or are we going to see any change from Brian Mazanoff and crew?
I think they're doing all the right things right now to unlock space. Again, I still come back to the secondary wave, whether it's the first step recognized by Dakota coming out of the midfield or the trailing runs, because their width retention has been excellent. As the back line pins, all of this space is here. Most of the balls they're hitting are pretty direct into the box, and Marshall's winning that battle. Why not the cut back across? Why not delay that one run and then catch this wave? Play right through it.
Samways earns the corner as Magnuson, now the center back, was pushing forward. The Reading subs down here by the Buckeyes. We'll see if they come in or they wait. They will wait. Borkovich to take. We're at 4:30 left in the semifinal. Vermont waits. A chance at a national championship on Monday night. Can the Buckeyes equalize? Outswinging ball. Bodies down in the box. Daniel Radford says, get up. Velios quickly gets back into play.
The question for Marshall, though, is can they continue this? I mean, this has been an onslaught in the second half of just deeper and deeper desperation. They haven't been clean on the ball. Every single time they pick it up, it's a long ball, give it right back to them.
They cannot get any reprieve. We are under 3:50 to go. Max Trejo now will play it long, looking for Borkovich. Vukovic, though, picks it off. Well done by Pablo Simon. Gets it out wide to Hai Pinto. Driven ball deflected. Trejo with the save. Sordo. And now you see Grinstead actually walking into the corner as we take a look at the replay.
I had a chance to sit with him yesterday. One of the biggest things he talked about was his explosivity and what strides he's taken. I mean, look at his body, the way that he plants, comes back across to adjust and keep his team in this thing. Unreal save from Trejo.
Keeps it a 1-0 advantage. Now they go to the corner to try to waste some time. They're able to keep the ball. Marshall is. This is giving a bit of that reprieve that they need. There are no rush to get back in play.
Got to be
There's
smart.
your yellow.
But listen, I get it. You pick up the yellow, the clock stops. They're taking too long. You got to be smart with the ball right now. 2:50 to go.
Yeah.
Make them chase you. You've done so much work here in the second half.
The yellow goes to Ryan Holmes. Waiting to throw it in still now. Polinario, they're able to at least stop the transition piece of that. Trejo scoops it up, trying to get it back in play. Adedokin's asking for the ball, but he's in an offside position. Not the best distribution. Pablo Simon. Card was actually given to Sordo, not Holmes. Flipped on by Borkovich. And João Roberto back right in to Magnuson. Veteran play and good officiating. Radford saw that, gave it to the Buckeyes. We're at 2 minutes to go. Full desperation mode is kicking in here. Bilo, heavy touch. Leaves it for Velios, asking a lot of him. And it's going to be Marshall ball deflected off Velios, trying to give it to Okiyoshi to put it back into play. But again, they're in no rush. Holmes will throw it long. 90 seconds to go for the Herd to return to a College Cup final. Do the Buckeyes have a late equalizer? Good step by Magnuson. Out to Samways. Pings it forward. Well done to Grinstead. Red jersey starting to pour into the box. Nice step by Simone. Samways. Floated in. Yannick off his line to grab it. 60 seconds. Waving his teammates forward. Yannick Blasek, 40 seconds left. Bilo clips it into the path of Grinstead. Good cover by Vukovic. We're at 26. Driven in, maybe an opportunity. Ball's not going to go out. Still in, Samway stepping forward. Samway's battling. 12 seconds, clipped in. Falls to Magnuson. Subigile, and his shot will go wide. And bodies fall. It ain't the beautiful game that Marshall always wants, but who cares? The story of this tournament, as always, survive and advance. They will play for a national championship Monday against Vermont. Chris Grassi gets his 100th win, and it punches their ticket to play for yet another national championship, to get 2 in 4 years and be in some real rarefied air.
Come on, come on. Come on.
Devin, your thoughts on the last 90? It's not a vintage Marshall performance, but who cares?
I would start with this Ohio State team.
Okay.
That when you look across the collegiate landscape of different styles, quality of play, and there's something to be said that sometimes the ideas don't necessarily need to be aplenty. And I don't mean that disrespectfully towards Ohio State. They are just super efficient at what they do. They did it again tonight. Sometimes there's no magic. And they 20 yards it in just didn't have the quality that we saw all year long. Defensively, you checked out for 20 seconds in the opening couple of minutes of this game. That cost you a result. Who knows how the rest of it would have gone. For Marshall, I'm with you. Sometimes, though, you don't need to win pretty. Yeah, win it ugly, create something within that dressing room that you look around and you think, you know what? We are untouchable. And this program over the past couple of years, Chris Grassi came over from the Carleton Charleston. You combine his wins there, it's 100 for the Thundering Herd. It's 200 for him overall. Every single year. Right there at the top of their conference. Right there pushing the boundaries nationally. Title winners a couple of years ago. They've been the talk of the town every single season, and they will have another opportunity to compete for a second star.
That they will. Let's hear from Chris Grassi now. A century mark of wins on the field, Marion.
Coach, congratulations on a trip to the national championship on Monday. Congrats on your 100th career win. I see that smile on your face. What's going through your mind? It is 100.
Marshall, 100 at Marshall. No, I was 99 at Charleston. So my first game at Marshall was my 100th. This must be 100 at Marshall. Thank you. That's good. Credit to Ohio State. I mean, they were the toughest team we played all year. That was such a scrappy game, and all guys rose to the occasion, and we scored early again. So we kind of start taking the game, back a little bit, and we've got to defend and be resilient. And I thought our guys were terrific at that today.
There was a lot that they had to go through. There was a delay in your start. There were a lot of delays in this game. Obviously, a player getting carried off is never an emotional thing that you want to go through in game, but your team continued to persevere. What do you have to say about the character of this locker room?
I mean, the guys are they're each other's brother. They're going to have each other's back. Our thoughts go with Taka. He's had a bad injury, I can't say more than that, but, be at the hospital. And we'll just be thinking of him now and then trying to prepare for Monday. But these guys can do anything.
You turn the page to Monday. What are you hoping to take from this match into the national title?
Belief that we can do anything.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
I don't know if he has an earpiece, but you just said, believe that we can do we can do anything. We're untouchable, and there you go.
Well, I would say this. That's for both the finalists that we're going to get.
Yeah,
for Vermont
true.
And for Marshall, right? That no matter the circumstance, the location, the opponent, how good of a game we've played, we're always going to be right there at the end. And tonight, certainly for Marshall, aesthetically, it wasn't the most pleasing, But again, there's something to be said about when it's not going your way, your back's up against the wall. You defend for basically the entirety of the game, and yet you still come out on top. That's when you go into a title game going, you know what? Now let's get back to ourselves and let's go get a result against a Vermont team that maintains that same sort of belief. The comeback kids, the cardiac kids, call them whatever you want. 90 minutes, in theory, for those two to make it maybe a little bit easier on everybody.
Man, if you would have looked at this 48-team bracket and had Marshall and Vermont in the final, you're a liar. But that's where we stand, and that's why we love sport, and that's why we love this tournament. Monday night, 8 o'clock on ESPN2, the Catamounts and the Thundering Herd will battle for a national title. For Marion Crowder down on the field, my partner Devin Kerr, Todd Koulis, Johnny Hanna, our great crew in the truck. We see you Monday night, 1-0 to the Herd. Let's go.
You could be vaping formaldehyde, which is used in taxidermy.
Oh, dear.
What?
Formaldehyde.